week, and they will be for many weeks to come. I don't plan to be long, but I'm not going to rush either. Ordinarily, when I speak at funerals, I am brief, but Brother Fisher and I go back a long way. And I have some things I want to say on behalf of the family, his ministry, and dear sweet Anyaila. Ronnie and I, people in Texas, have never really got our relationship or why we are as close as we are. It's interesting because Ronnie will tell you, we don't talk every day, but I am as close to him as I have ever been to any brother that I've ever had. Closer to him than I am my own blood brother. We know things about one another that we're not going to share with you. We have shared secrets and had prayer together. And those of you who are from Wisconsin, you remember when I was there and I was serving as the minister of the Midtown Church of Christ, and Ronnie was over at 23rd Avenue. But one thing y'all have to understand is that Brother Fisher is a lot. Not that he's a lot person, but he's a part of the Lot family. And one half of the Lot family took up one half of the auditorium at the Midtown Church of Christ. And the other half filled up 23rd Avenue. Amen. And when you got to know the Lots, you became a part of their family. First thing they did was feed you. Amen. Sister Janice Lott is here, Ronnie's mother, and Sister Olison and I spent many a day in her house. And as soon as we walked in the door, y'all want something to eat? Ronnie's grandfather, Brother Lott, who he built up just like Brother Jacob Lott, who was as faithful of a man. Brother Lott was so faithful, he didn't want any songbooks in the building but the Red Selection songbooks. That's how faithful Brother Lott. You couldn't change nothing with Brother Lott in the building. And Sister Olison and I spent many a day there in his house with him and Sister Lott. And I remember when I met Brother Fisher, he was going through some things the day I met him. And I've known him longer than I've known Sister Fisher. And I sat and I talked with Brother Fisher about things that he was going through. Little did I know that years later, the things that I'm going through now, he would be the one who would in turn support me while I go through my things, as I supported him while he went through his. And we developed a friendship, a bond. Some years later, he walked into Midtown with this woman on his arm named LaQuita. And they sat there just googly-eyed at each other, all in love. The members were, who is that? Who is she? Why is she here? Yeah, man, I'm not going to hide there. I'm going to kill nobody. That's right. She wasn't a member of the Church of Christ, and she almost didn't make it because of how some of us treated her when she got there. I'm just bringing you up. We're going to get to Anyaila. The first time I met LaQuita, she didn't have Anyaila with her, but she was there with Ronnie seeking the Lord. My sister Olison at the time came to me after we met them, and she said these words to me that stuck with me. She said, and I've said them over and over again, she said, if he is ever going to be a preacher, he needs her. Because we met her learned very quickly what kind of a person and a woman that she is. And I repeated that over and over again. I said, she's the best thing that is, besides Jesus, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She came to me after she had put the Lord on in baptism. After we had moved to Texas. I was very surprised when Brother and Sister Fisher moved to Texas. Many people said, well, they followed you and Sister Olison to Texas and so forth. And I sat down with them and Sister Fisher said, I know that if my husband is ever going to be a successful preacher in the church, then he needs you. That's what she said. You remember when you said that to me? She said that to me. Over time, what the Lord showed all of us is that Brother Fisher did not really need Sister Fisher to preach. He did not need me to preach. All he needed was the Lord.
Amen.
And today, he is a gospel preacher.
Amen.
A great gospel preacher.
Amen.
Separate and apart from anyone but Jesus. It is the Lord that puts you in the pulpit. And it is the Lord that will remove you from the pulpit. When I met Anyaila, she was only 5 years old. The first time I saw her, she was sitting on the pews of the Midtown Church of Christ, all nestled up under her mother. Anyaila has always had what you call stage presence. She makes an impression on you when you meet her. It is something about the way she lights up when she smiles. There was something about the calm and satisfying demeanor of her personality. There was something about her that you just felt the Spirit of God in her behavior and her demeanor when she drank. She was like that from the day I met her. When I saw her here in Texas, not one time did she ever cease to greet me with a warm hug and smile. She made me feel like I was a part of her family, and there was not a thing I could do about it. She accepted me, respected me, without me ever needing to ask. She displayed love in every part of her. Anyaila was a very sweet child. She will be heavily missed. And it's very few people that I can say, not even myself, I never heard anyone have a negative word to say about Anyaila. And I don't mean nobody ever said anything, but I never heard anyone say negative things about her. I remember at the North Tenniel Church of Christ, when they were there, the whole family was there, I remember going into one of the nursery Sunday school rooms, and there she was, Anyaila, tending to her baby brother, changing his diaper. She was no more than a child herself, but looking out after her own brothers and sisters. That was the character of this child. She made an impression on our lives. She leaves an example for all of us to follow, because she was someone who showed leadership, who showed kindness, who showed love without judgment of anyone. And we're going to miss her. Ronnie and I have been through a lot together. We've been ups and downs, but even to the point where we sat last Saturday and we sang on Anyaila's bedside together. I'm not much of a singer, y'all know that, but I did what I could while we comforted her in her final moments of life. In 2 Samuel, about chapter number 12, there's the story of young King David. And I've preached this story before, and I've used it as a funeral message before. But there's been very few times that I thought it to be such an appropriate story as this time today. David had taken on another wife, and they were with child. And because David had done wrong, the Lord was going to punish David by taking the child. Soon after the child was born, the child fell sick, newborn baby. And David began to fast and pray every day and every night for the child. After 7 days, the child died. And David overheard his servants talking about the child and wondering how they were going to break the news to the king. David heard them talking, and he said, "Is the child dead?" They said, "Yes, Lord, the child is dead." David got up and washed himself, anointed himself, dressed himself, and then went to the table and ate. And all the people around marveled and wondered, why is David eating at the table when he just lost his child? David turned and looked and said, while the child lived, I did everything that I could do. But now that the child is gone, it is time for me to move on in life. I sat and I watched Brother and Sister Fisher do everything that they could for their daughter while she lived. Day and night at that hospital, talking to the doctors, making trips, taking time off away from the work of the ministry as well as her job. I sat there and I watched Sister Fisher open up her laptop, checking the medicines to make sure the doctors wasn't giving her baby something that they didn't have no business giving her baby. She was being a doctor to her own child. She was double checking, asking questions, looking at the monitors. By the end of it all, she could read those monitors in that ICU more than the doctors could read it. She watched every level rise and every level fall. What's your point, preacher? She did everything she could. And so I say to you, have no regrets. For the Lord made this decision. We don't know why the Lord made this decision. But we have to trust that the Lord gives, as Brother Howard said, and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. But I'm comforted because I know my God. I know my Lord. He is a righteous God. He is a just God. He is a loving God. He is a kind God. And I have never known my God to condemn a child to eternal damnation. Amen. Now, he is the one who will judge her fate. And we can never put a person definitely in heaven or hell. But I've never known my God to send a child to eternal damnation. I'm reminded of a story, and I'll let y'all go. I heard a story about a boy who was confined to a wheelchair. He was not able to walk. His body had rebelled against his own body. And his father, to comfort the boy, would bring him toys that were designed to help the handicapped understand that handicapped individuals can live a normal life just like anyone else. But the boy would not accept this. One day, the father came to see his son in his room, and there the boy sat in his wheelchair, and sitting on the table, there was one of the toys the father had given him of a boy who was also in a wheelchair. But the son had taken the toy out of the wheelchair, and the son had removed the toy's legs. The son had taken an Energizer battery and had taped it around the chest of the toy. The son had taken a central processing unit computer chip from his computer and had placed it on the toy's head. And the father looked at the toy. He asked his son, he said, son, he said, what is this? What have you done to the toy that I have given you to encourage you? The son had replaced the legs of the toy with a can of Armorall. And so his father said, what is this? Why do you have a can of Armorall where the legs are supposed to be? And the son said, because Daddy, they said that Armorall can stand against anything. And I know that when I get my new body in heaven, I want legs that will not only help me to stand, but they'll help me to stand up to anything. The father said, well, what's the computer chip for, son? He said, well, Daddy, my brain is now functioning. It doesn't know how to tell my body to work right. So when I get my new body in heaven, I want a brain that's smarter than any brain that we've ever had before. And he said, well, son, what's the battery for? He said, well, Daddy, the doctors have said that my heart is wearing out. And the advertisement for the Energizer battery is that it just keeps on going and going and going. When I get to heaven, Daddy, I want a heart that's going to keep going and going and going. His daddy said, but son, this doesn't even look like a human being anymore. The boy looked at his father with a smile. And he said, Daddy, haven't you heard that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for those that love him? For it does not appear what we shall be, but we know when we see him, we will see him as he is. Father smiled at his son. He said, son, have you given him a name? He said, yeah, Daddy, his name is Mo. He said, why do you call him Mo? He said, because he's got a Mo better heart. He's got a Mo better legs. He's got a Mo better brain. He's got a Mo better life. And the day is going to come when I'm going to be changed in the moment and the twinkling of an eye. And I'm going to be given a Mo better life, Mo better love, a Mo better grace, a Mo better care, a Mo better everything when I get over to the other side. And Daddy, that's what I'm living for. Today I want to tell you that Anyaila, she's been given a Mo better body, a Mo better life, a Mo better heart. And while you can cry because you miss her, And you can shed the tears because of the hole she's left in her eyes. Don't you feel sorry for her, for she's in a better place than any one of us could ever imagine. Her pain is now gone. She does not need a breathing tube to breathe anymore. She doesn't need a monitor to monitor her anymore. She's got the love of God in the everlasting arms in the bosom of Abraham. She is comforted forevermore. Let us remember her. Let us love her. And let us follow her by living the life that God has commanded us to live. Giving our lives to God through faith in Jesus Christ and Him crucified. For Anyaila put Him on in baptism based on her faith in Him. Repenting of all past sins and continuing to repent and confessing to whoever may ask that Jesus is the Son of God, and by going through the watery grave of baptism and living your life faithfully. And Anyaila, I tell you where she was every day. She wasn't in that hospital on Sundays. She was in worship to the Lord. And I can tell you now that she is in worship to the Lord. May God bless you. May He keep you. Now we turn it over to our funeral.